Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. I am Ryan, the channel admin and founder, and I'm here today to discuss availability at Everton's stadium at Bramley Moore. Firstly, if you're watching, can someone please confirm in the comments that they can hear me and that I'm not simply talking to myself, as I have a reputation for talking to myself and the microphone not being on. So just before I go ahead, can someone please very quickly confirm if you can hear me? Okie dokie. Right. So how are we going to do this? I'm going to talk to you about the season tickets that are left. Thanks, Wormy. Talk to you about the season tickets that are left available to buy. I'm going to give you some analysis of what I've learned so far. And it's kind of stereotypes as well in there, but it all does make sense. So if you're watching, you might have joined us on Twitter because you're curious, you're waiting to buy your season ticket and you want to know what's available left seat wise, or you're one of our loyal viewers on YouTube who are just curious to see what's going on. So I'll take you through that. As you can see, I've got a bit more of a setup now, guys. Do you remember I was in the little box room? That's now the baby's nursery. And I've migrated myself up into this loft conversion. So you're going to see a lot more from me. And I've got a new microphone. Hopefully, I sound really nice and clear. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and do a screen share. So let's work out how to do this. I think it's this one. Can you see that? Fabulous. Fabulous. Can someone confirm they can see the screen that I am sharing? And I'm going to take you a little walk around through the ground. Remember to smash the like button for me. Let's get this video quite a lot of views. And also give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Okay. So thanks, David, for confirming. This is the current set of affairs. Now, to access this screen, you have to be eligible to buy a season ticket. So I found that in the build-up to my purchase date, which was today, for me and Basil and my dad, it was particularly anxiety-provoking because you could see the virtual venue, but you couldn't actually see what seats were available. And so at 10 a.m. in the morning, it is kind of like fastest fingers first, assessing what's available. So I thought this information now being put out will help people maybe ahead of next week's. Although some seats will sell, but if you're still curious to know what's going on and give you some analysis, people can have a look at the state of affairs as it stands. But yeah, coming into this, what I had to do was ask Jan, part of the channel, to show me what seats in which blocks that I was interested in were available. So he screenshotted it and showed me. So I had the heads up of where I wanted to go in the ground, and I'll talk you through that in a moment. But I'll just talk to you about some of the availability then, starting from, of course, you've got these corporate sections here. All of this area here is hospitality and corporate. You've also got the same on the west side, which is the bottom of the screen. All of this is allocated to hospitality, corporate. You've got your boxes, you've got the players dugout, you've got everything going on here. So if you're a season ticket holder or a match goer and you normally sit in the main stand or the Bullens, it must be quite frustrating because the main section of where this main stand used to be, or this main upper Bullens, lower Bullens, I should say, and paddock, they're all really boxed off for corporates, barring a few seats. Now, you have got at the back of the ground, you've got this club view section, which are really nice seats, but you have to remember the way Everton Stadium is now, the lower tier is almost the full height of the park end. So you could imagine the park end and then having another tier on top of the park end. It is seriously tall. So everything kind of would feel like the back of the main stand or the top balcony in the upper tier, which I know a lot of people are not keen on. But then with the lower tier, you don't have the same level of access to a lot of the facilities in the stadium. So I'm going to just have a look. Oh, thank you, Chris Smith. I appreciate that. Much appreciated. Chris Smith. Is this Chris Smith, YouTuber, watcher, or is this Chris Smith who I play football with on a Wednesday? Because I know a Chris Smith, and I don't know if you're watching. Please confirm. Right. So just looking here, in terms of availability, let's start where there's tons of availability. So this north side of the stadium, the issue with the north, the reality is the north, you have the sun. So the orientation is the same as Goodison Park. So this is the equivalent of the Gladys Street, this north stand, in terms of where the sun. So the sun is going to hit all of this area here. And then in this top right-hand corner, you have the away fans situated in this sort of triangular space, similar to kind of like what you have at Old Trafford, but they're actually low. I don't know why we haven't put them up in the gods like they do at Newcastle. And then on the other side, this other corner is the family enclosure. These are slightly cheaper seats as well. So this is the family segment. So in the north stand, to compromise for the fact you have the sun in your eyes, you've got the away fans and the family kids, which arguably isn't going to create the best atmosphere. The seats are a bit cheaper. I believe they're £640 for an adult seat. So they are a lot more affordable. And I imagine this section of the ground will be full of the new season ticket holders. And the reason for that is because the availability is really quite good. So let's have a look now at what's available behind the goal. And you can see it is thousands of seats. Thousands of seats. You could literally go right behind this goal in the center, in a large group of people, and the view. For me, I think this view is really good. It's equivalent of what I've got in the park end at the moment, if I'm honest with you. And in hindsight, I don't know. We haven't gone for this, but you'll find that most existing season ticket holders haven't gone the north side. They've gone in other areas of the ground, which I'll talk about. But this north side, look, there's tons of availability. The view is really good. Obviously, for this side of the pitch, you could argue that you only see really half the game when you're on either end. And so it isn't the great when the ball's at the other side of the pitch. That's just the way it is. So that's tons of availability. Thanks, Chris, for clarifying. So I'm just going to zoom back out. So on this north stand here, then you've got your away section. And then behind it, look at this. We haven't sold I don't think we've sold a single ticket. Because you might be on the waiting list watching this and thinking, where am I going to sit? But I'm telling you now, if you're on the waiting list and you're going to get a season ticket for the first time, you've got plenty of chances to get in here. This is where the vast majority of new season ticket holders are going to be. The north stand. And then I think, probably the last area to go is going to be this quadrant here behind the away fans, because I just don't see anyone wanting to go in there. Working your way around the ground, then you have some really nice views here. Of course, this is all hospitality. These are all gone. So that leaves you with a couple of blocks. Now, this club view is £1,200 a year. It's a private concourse. So you can't get out, you can't get in. For me, that isn't my cup of tea, although the view is really nice. Nice and central, touchline views, similar to possibly main stand or top balcony. There's a couple of nice seats there for someone looking. I'll just show you these. But what you have to factor in, this is really quite high up already. And this is only kind of like 4 or 5 rows at the start of that club view tier. But that is a really nice seat. Row 41. So to give you some perspective, in the park end, at the moment, I sit 25 rows up on row Z. And I think that's probably the sweet spot. You go higher up than that, you do lose a bit of atmosphere. You do gain perspective. But I think for me, finding a nice balance between perspective of view, but also feeling some sort of atmosphere is quite important. So in this section here, in the club view, there is a little bit of availability still in there. As I say, private concourse, £1,200 a year, but you are looking more towards this side of the pitch, this north area, where you will have some sun. And of course, you've got the away fans here. But there is availability more centrally, of course. It's kind of like halfway up. And I think when you start to get to the gods, if you've probably got like 4, maybe 3 years or 1 year, I think like the lowest tenure, this sort of seats are going to be available potentially, but they're going to be right at the very, very back. And that is bloody steep. Row 60. So if you think Manchester Opera House is high, when you go and watch go to the theatre or Wembley Stadium, this is going to be quite steep. But there is a lot of availability at the moment, and I do suspect this will remain going into kind of next week's tenure as well, the 11th of 12th of Feb. But just getting some notifications. How is the new mic doing for you guys? Is it clear? I'm hoping you're happy with it. Moving into this lower tier, then I think these are really good seats. This is block 17 on the east side. So the equivalent of the Bullens paddock area. and there's some really good seats, loads of availability. You are heading towards the corner and the away section, but if you want touchline view and you're not hospitality, this is really all you're getting now. I'm going to show you why. So you've got section 17. Personally, I like to be kind of at the back of the upper tier just to give you perspective, but still feel quite intimate. And I think that is a superb view of the ground. I'm not sure on the price. £880. I think it's a good price. I think it deserves to be top tier because it is the really good seats. They're arguably better than where I'm sat, which is here. And I'll tell you why it's here a bit later on. So I sound like T-Pain. Mike Gray. Okay, so let's moving on. Let's talk about the club view. You're really looking at kind of the top half, which is quite steep, but there is seats there. All this is gone naturally. And then you're coming into the most popular parts of the ground. Now, the reason this is popular, this is the south stand of the stadium. This is the new Gladys Street in effect, but you don't have potentially the sun in that direction because of the orientation of the ground and the way the sun sets and kickoff times. But what's happened here is the lower tier of the south stand is all standing, I should say. And although I have spoke to the fan advisory board, they have said that you don't have to stand. Personally, I think all it takes is 2-3 rows in front for you to be standing, and then everyone's standing, or you can't watch the match. So forget about sitting down there. You know you're going to get younger ones. I'll come to that in a minute. Now, what I think's happened so far is the people have gone, I'm not going north for the reasons I've explained, and same with the aways. The club view has appealed for the view, which is why the first sort of 10 rows have gone. Maybe block 17 quite hasn't been as popular because of the priorities of maybe other places in the ground, such as this one here. So if you don't want to stand and you want to be the south end, you're really looking at like block 12 in the lower tier. But you'll see now the amount of seats left, it's really poor, really popular, which is inevitable because if you want to sit on the side and you're not hospitality, you haven't got much choice. You have literally got these front 3 rows. And I know Jan from the channel is around here. And I think Stevie, my brother, is in row 11. So he's sitting here. So a couple of channel members have gone here. This is a really popular, I'll just show you the view. It's a really popular part of the ground. For me, that's a bit too low. I prefer a bit more perspective, but you're really in with the action and you'll get some good close-ups of Mikalenko spoofing the ball 40 yards over the crossbar. And also similarly popular is this 217 behind, which I'm not surprised because you've got the elevated views and look, there you go. Unless you sat, that's changed today. Unless you sat kind of in the last few rows, and I'm talking this is majorly high, row 63. Unless you sat up there, you're not getting in there. So you're kind of looking in these corners now. And I suspect most of these corners will be quite late to go. I don't think people generally want to sit in the corner, but that's not a bad view at all. Because look, you've got perspective of the entire match. There is genuinely no bad seat, is there? The players will look really small, but you'll be able to see pretty much everything. And if you can get low down in that corner, I think that would be great. £780, that is, for an adult ticket. So just moving my way around here. So this is coming into the south stand now. So this lower tier, as of this morning, there was so much availability, even in central areas. And I think the reason for this is younger fans would stand up and be comfortable standing up. This has really been hammered today. This was really full this morning, and loads of seats have sold since I've been looking at it at 10 a.m. Because it's standing, you're thinking, is 50s plus really going to want to stand? I mean, I'm 31. I don't want to stand up the whole game. So I think you then compel yourself to go into the upper tier. And that is why, if you look behind these upper tiers, the first rows in the upper tiers are probably older people who are sitting in the Gladys Street who've gone up there. And they were the first to go. They were really quick to go. And now you can see it's really just the back of this stand that's available. And then the lower areas. And the reason these are later to go is I think younger fans, younger fans who have got tenure, probably 12 years or less, and maybe in the mid-20s or 30s. By the time they come around, these are the seats they're going to go for, because they're willing to stand. They want to be in that kind of madhouse area. But the older fans who've got the longer tenure are probably not going in there. And that's what we've witnessed. A lot of this space is gone today. Of course, these rows are going to go late because you'll be looking through the net. I'll just show you kind of the best seat there behind the goal now. You're looking through the net. Listen, a new season ticket holder is going to be fine with that. Personally, I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't buy that. And I probably wouldn't sit there if it was free. Be honest, I'd rather pay to sit in a good seat. Some of these ones are really nice, but unfortunately, it is standing. You've got the rail in front of you. We'll see. I mean, if it's persistent, I don't understand if is the idea of persistent standing. The idea is someone is standing up the whole match, like an away game. I think people will get really irritated by that quickly. But if it's we're standing up for the ball out for a throw in a corner and a shot, and you're getting excited and you've got that safety in front of you, then fine. But I thought the idea of this rail seating was also to increase capacity. Yes, I can. I don't. I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't want that pinging up during the stream. The rail seating, anyway. I thought the idea was to increase capacity. Maybe someone can clarify that who's watching. It's 213 if you're watching. I'm hoping if there's anyone on X who's waiting to get their season ticket, please let me know whether you find this video helpful. And if you are on X, please come over to YouTube, youtube.com/follow Everton, or open the YouTube app on your mobile device and hit subscribe for us. Help us. We're over 3,000 subs now, but let's hit the road to 4K and give this channel the subscribers I think it deserves. So I imagine by the time people with kind of 8 years or more tenure, maybe even 5 years, these seats will be available in these corners. I think fans are still going to go quite central, but there isn't a lot of choice there. So if you're coming in now and you don't want north because of the sun, the aways, you don't want the family enclosure, you don't want to sit in the corner at the top, there isn't a lot of choice unless you're kind of in this little triangle segment or low down. You know, it's hard because there's no bad seat in this ground, but you can see exactly why people are going where they're going. So we're just making our way around now into the southwest corner. These were advertised 001, 002. These are the most expensive seats aside from Club View, so 001. And of course, on this side as well, this is all dugouts, corporates, and people who have got a lot of money. They're all in here. Okay, because those views are going to be great. The equivalent of the Club View, elevated view. Maybe older fans with a little bit more disposable income will go up there and be very, very happy. And I think they're great seats. I'd say it's ideal. So what I've done, I've thought, where are the most expensive seats in the ground? Well, they're around here. I've gone level with that, and I've gone in. I tried to get in block 001, but it was pretty impossible. Now, a bit of information on the east stand over here. This is a lot less availability. I think this is because the entrance into the stadium is a lot bigger concourse with more facilities and easier access from the main road. But you will have 7,500 fans in there to compete with. For me, I'm not mad on that, really. So although there was temptation to go in here, there wasn't a lot of choice. There was a few seats around the back here in blocks. I needed 3 together. I could have done that. I really could have. But for some reason, I was just really drawn to this section here. Not because it's the most expensive, but just because, you know, this area is the most prestigious part of the ground where you've got all of these directors' boxes. So you're kind of just adjacent with that. So I am surprised to see so many seats still available. Now, these back ones were all available this morning. They've gone. I'm sitting around here, level with these really posh seats. So, you know, I feel really happy about that I'm the same height as someone probably paying £2,000 or £3,000 a season without the hospitality. Yes, I'm further along, a block along, and I'm actually technically in 2 because halfway through it jumps between 1 and 2. There is a price difference. So this section here is split in the middle between 1 and 2, and I've ended up in block 2 at the cusp. I think I'm 1 seat over to the right, where we start. But there is sporadic seats there. I know that Mabsy from the channel is looking to come around here and get one of these seats within, so may possibly row 20 he'll grab, or behind us, the row 22, literally the seat behind us, which would be pretty good if he can get that. Should probably, if you're watching Mavsy, the seat behind us is available for next Wednesday. So availability then in blocks 1 and 2, well, 1 naturally just low. I don't think you've got a lot of perspective of the pitch. Same here, you know, Jan's gone on the front row. I'm not mad on the front row. I don't think you can see the other side of the goal of the ground particularly well. But it is, you know, for the negative of that, the pros is you really are thick in the action. You can hear the players talking. You can really soak it up and feel like you're at a proper football game, which is what he likes. And then behind that, naturally, this is, you know, understandable. I was looking at 201. And I possibly, if I could have snapped your hand off for that front row in the upper tier, I would have gone for it. But they've all been taken because it's central. It's the most central you can get without being in that hospitality or corporate. So if you're a fan and you don't want to pay 1,200 quid, or you don't want club view because of the private concourse, you don't want to stand. Sorry, if you want to sit on the side and you don't want club view and you're not corporate, you've either got family enclosure, you need a kid to get in. I don't think the view's that good. You've got the other side, which I showed you at the start, 17, which I think is good, but you're next to the aways. You may have a bit of the sun, I'm not sure, but you've got that corner there. And then you get pushed into block 12, which is on the other side of this, which I think is why it's gone so fast, is because that's where everyone who's been in the main stand or Bullens has been compelled to go in. And the same here, I suspect. With 200, they're all gone, apart from on the back row. I think we saw 201. Yeah, so I mean, that is really high up. But people will be grateful just to get in the ground if they've got a new season ticket. But these are quite high seats. And then I am surprised that, has anyone got a theory why number 2 could be still available? Maybe there's just not enough season ticket holders eligible yet. But I think this will go next. This sort of corner, this section here, same on the other side, some more around the south. And then the last sort of seats will be these. You know, these are being booked this morning, I think, if you compare. This is the upper tier, upper corner, loads of availability. I'll just show you the view so you can get a perspective. So if you're a new season ticket holder or you're on the waiting list, I imagine you either end up in this north stand here, plenty of availability, behind the away fans in that corner. There will be some odd singles floating around in various parts. I don't suspect it'll be here or over there, but or certainly in this corner as well, which is possibly the equivalent to when you go to Man United away. So I'm happy to take questions. If there's anyone here who wants to have a look, Hi, Fan Advisory Board. Thanks for dropping on. If there's anyone here who wants me to have a look at any particular seats, I'm happy to have a little look and give you, an insight onto what is left. Peter Duggan, he's saying, I heard the safe standing was supposed to go to a 2-to-1 ratio. I don't know how that works. I think, is it Pablo? There was also talk of 1.2, which would increase it slightly. Your 5,000 seats would increase to 6,000, but it's to do with the law. Okay, so if the law changes, how does the capacity change? Do the seats get removed and more people get penned in? Because I don't think fans who are there at the moment would take too lightly to being told that their seat is being removed and they have more fans squeezed in. But I thought the idea was that we were going to eventually increase the capacity. So I assume the younger fans who are going in there are doing it on the basis that they are aware that the capacity could change. I know you've got to wait for your son, I think, so I'm sure you'll get a good seat there as well. We've got a Liverpool fan. How did I get here? Maybe because David Moyes has brought back the good times and you've got a little bit of nostalgia about you, Sevaji. Jazz, I want to sit on the bench. No, Jazz, you can sit in my seat. Peter Duggan, the Signal Iduna Park has rail seating of 1 to 2 in the upper stand. Seems to work fine. I don't see why the law would not allow capacity. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think if it had been standing now, let me just remove this for now. I think if it had been standing, my beard is terrible today. I do apologize. Look like a scruff. And this is a Roma kit, by the way, that I actually bought before the links with Friedkins. I got this on holiday for my 30th birthday. So I didn't just become a Roma fanboy on the back of the Friedkin group buying us. I actually did like the top and the club. Um, I think if the South Stand had been standing, we would have seen seating. I think we would have seen it fly out really quickly. It would have been my third choice, and my first choice was Central Block 1 or Central 12. So going in as close as you can. I'm not mad on being where I am in the corner-ish, but I just didn't want to sit behind the goal high up in the upper south, which is at the moment where I would be, or standing. So, if someone was asking me, if the fans forum or the fan advisory board were having a consultation with myself as a fan before all of this, I would have said, what you're doing, because you've what the club are doing, I should say, because the way the stadium has been allocated with so much hospitality and corporate, and I appreciate why that needs to be the case, because we need to make money. We've got to make money as a club. We're not a charity. You're pushing a lot of the fans who want to sit on the side into very small areas either side of, so like block 12, block 1, block 2, and then on the other side 17. There isn't a lot of choice for so many fans. Exasperating that by the fact that if you want to sit, can't get availability there, and you don't want to stand, you're in the upper tier of the South. And if you've got a lesser tenure, you've seen the seats. It is the back half. You're quite high up. If you've got scared of heights or vertigo, I'm not particularly good with heights. When we went to Santorini on holiday on a cruise, there was an option to take the donkey ride around the side of the mountain, or get the cable car. And I wasn't putting the donkeys through stress, and I wasn't going in the cable car. I ended up walking. But I'm not good with heights. So, I just feel like I understand why they've done it. I get it. But looking at this, with 12 years tenure, I felt like I only had one option of where to sit, because I didn't want to stand. I didn't want to sit terribly high up. I didn't want to go right in the corner. So I had to go where I went. And I would have liked a bit more choice, because I have got 12 years tenure, but I completely get it. Ollie H, where have I bought? So the seats I have bought, I'll show you again. We'll just present the screen. This is a really good feature of StreamYard, getting my money's worth here. So this is the dugout. This is the where the players' tunnel comes out. So they'll all be here. And I have bought, and there's plenty of seats in this section, which I think are going to go quickly. If anyone's looking, come and join me. So I've bought basically, let's say basically this. So in this picture, it gave me the illusion that we're actually quite low down. But then when you look, you've got loads of seats. There's 20 rows in front. So, and the ground, apparently it isn't like built up. It's level. So front row is level with the pitch. It's not like that. So I was like, nah, this is too low. But then I looked down and I'm like, it's not too low, is it? 20 rows is probably a nice sweet spot. I think the back, unless you want to be right in the mix, I think back of the lower tier or the bottom of the upper tiers are the best seats. So you'll have a good look at David Moyes there. And I hope the players warming up don't warm up this side. I hope they warm up this side. But I suspect they will warm up this side. And you'll have the linesmen standing here and there. So that is... Let's unshare this now. Is there anyone who wants me to have a little look at any particular... Oh, thanks, Ollie. Thank you, Ollie. Well, I'm paying the favor back now to people. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. We're on 280 viewers on this stream so far. If anyone's got any questions for the fan advisory board while they're here, maybe they can answer in the comments. I'm happy to take any questions um, on the ground as well. A couple more minutes, then I'll wrap things up here. Peter Duggan, the 1-to-2 ratio works in safe standing is with 2 steps between the rails with room for 1 person on the back step and enough room for 2 more on the step in front of them. I don't think we're going to be able to install extra steps, but I don't get how the capacity changes because you're taking the seats out and then you're cramming more people in. How does that work? What if you don't want to have your seat removed? You want the option. Charlie Brown, the back rows are a hike to get to. Yes, I think there are escalators and lifts. I think the accessibility is really good. I mean, this stadium is just a bit mad. There are faith rooms, sensory rooms. I don't quite know why we need faith rooms. I'll be honest. I'm not being anti that. I don't see the need in the ground for that. But I appreciate that where it's 2025 and we are. We're trying to be inclusive. We've got the gender neutral toilets and the accessibility toilets, which are great as well. But there are so many facilities. The one thing that I was a bit unsure about and what I don't understand, the lower concourse is all linked. So I could walk from where I'm sat. I enter through South. I go over to Southwest. And let's say I wanted to meet my brother at half time or a friend. I could literally walk all the way around the lower tier and go in the East Stand. I could even go in the North if I could be bothered. So I could theoretically meet before the match and go in the North. I can't go in the upper tier. It's the same situation there. But can I go and have a meal in a restaurant before the match? Because I think the experiences are on the floor above. Now, how do you get up there? And then are you allowed back down? How does that work? That's one thing I'm really curious about. Because although a lot of the time when we play at 3:00 and it's a Saturday and I've got to go to work straight after the game, I have to leave 2 or 3 minutes before kickoff, or even the last match I had to leave 5 minutes before. There's no way I'd be able to go for a hospitality experience after the game or a few drinks in general. Maybe before the match, it would be quite nice to have something. That's all from me then. Thank you so much for watching. 30 minutes. I've got some other things to be getting on with. I hope this information has proven useful. There are no other information or any news coming out at the moment with anything. We'll obviously talk about the Bournemouth game in due course. I'm quite excited to see the signing of Charlie Alcaraz. I personally think he comes straight in for his debut. Bournemouth have beat us in the last 2 matches. We need to try something different, and I'd like to see him in the 10 spot. The way Everton have been playing lately with Mikalenko pushed very high, Ndai kind of like in a false 10 position with Doucouré. And I think Doucouré could be pushed back or dropped for Alcaraz and give him a little go and see what we've got. The FAB, the Thunderbirds, you can walk all the way around on both concourse, but no, you can't go from one to the other. To access a restaurant, you'd have to purchase on a match. So if I was sat in the lower where I am and on a match-by-match basis, I wanted to go into the restaurant for a meal before, does my seat change? Am I allowed back down for the match? Or do I get a new seat? Is there a seat allocated to that particular experience? Thanks, Chris. Are you a season ticket holder? Is there anyone in the comments waiting for a ticket who can tell me where they've got, or where has anyone bought a season ticket already? Can tell me where they've bought their season ticket? Just while I wait for Thunderbird 1 to reply. If you don't know the answer, let me know. Or if you didn't hear the question, let me know. My missus is telling me, you should move your mic down the middle so you could see your mouth. Okay. Thank you for the advice. I think your seat changes. Okay. Thank you very much. I think your seat changes, but I know they are selling packages on a one-off basis. I suppose in that scenario, you could buy your ticket and then sell your ticket or return it to the club. So I personally feel like I would like to occasionally experience one of the bars or restaurants before the game. but I don't necessarily want to pay an arm and a leg and have my ticket upgraded if I'm happy where I am. A couple of bits of information from the club. You can't change your ownership at the moment. So let's say you wanted to change it and put it in someone else's name. Some of the tickets, you might have a ticket in your cousin's name, or someone's died. You keep it as it is. They're not messing around with ticket changes. Um, and your tenure can only be boosted if it's boosted through becoming someone's carer or special circumstances, I think, like bereavement, when it's a transfer of interest between tickets. Okay. Henry's saying what's great about gender neutral toilets. Well, I'm not going to voice my opinion on here, am I? If I think either way that it's strange or not strange. I personally, I'm not going to comment on that. I leave that for some of our more opinionated pundits to give you their opinion. I'm sure Jan will say they're amazing and Mabsy will say they're a load of a joke, but it's 2020, 2025. Let people do what they want to do. Just don't get me involved. Ian's in row. Let's have a look at Ian's seat before wrapping up. Ian Clark, one of our regulars. I'm in 204, row 46, seat 164. So let's have a little look at Ian's seat and let's spy on one of our regulars. So you're in 204. And then I am wrapping it up because I'm going to get told off. I've got to go and look after the baby. Where is 204? You bastard. What's going on here? Am I missing a trick here? 206. Is it at the bottom behind me? Need to zoom out more. What the hell's going on here? What is... There you go. 204. Ian, have you just bought that today? Is this one classed as 204? Exactly, mate. You're literally just slightly to the right of me. Just slightly to the right of me. Where are you? 43, 164. Row 43. Bloody hell. It's high up here. That's the closest I can get. 164, did you say? Which way are they going? 149, 150. Row 43. So you're 3 rows down. Oh, mate. Look, I can get the ticket next to you. The view is, I mean, this is the thing. These probably wouldn't be considered the best seats in the ground by far from it because, you're behind your goal. But that is what I mean by that is you're in the corner, but you're behind the goal. But the view is just so good wherever you're sat. You just can't go wrong. No posts. You're going to have an amazing view of this crowd here. You'll see the touchline, the players. It's fantastic here. Thank you, mate. We're wrapping it up now anyway. How many tickets are left? I don't know, if it was take a guess, I'd say most of the North Stand is available. I'd probably say 35% of the tickets are still available. But numbers haven't been released. And this is it. This is the answer that I've got for Henry. I agree. Accessibility, inclusivity. That's why I said I'm not the comment. Doesn't really matter. Who cares? Doesn't affect me. Doesn't bother me. So that's all. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed speaking with you all. Thank you very much for the input from everyone, from Peter Duggan, Ian, Dominic, our Everton fan advisory board friends. Much appreciated. Lovely to hear from you. Shout out to Charlie, Ollie, of course, in the comments. We've got AFC in there as well. We even had a Liverpool fan who couldn't resist watching, and he was quite polite. So what do you need to do now if you're new here? If you're not already subscribed, then you need to do what our friend Danny Friedkin says: subscribe to Follow Everton on YouTube. Thanks, Dan, for kindly doing this banner for me. You can find that quite simply by going on YouTube or YouTube app and searching Follow Everton and hit the subscribe button. Thank you and goodbye.